We have all known since step one, as the Democratic Party knew over a year ago, they weren't going to win this race. The way the redistricting occurred made it a no-brainer that it was a Republican majority and that a Democrat was going to have a hell of a time getting elected in this district. What we're seeing from the returns tonight is not only did the Democrat have a horrible time, but if the Democrat hadn't run this race, we might have won it, like I've said, for the last 3 months steadily. They, if anyone spoiled the race for anybody, they spoiled the race for the working people of CD21, because they kept telling us what they've said for 25 or 30 years now: just wait till the next cycle. This isn't the right time. You know, incrementalism, approach things cautiously and calmly, and we'll continue to squeeze you guys a little bit more every election cycle until you don't have jobs any longer, until inflation has driven you out of your homes, until you can't get a mortgage any longer, and until basically Walmart is where you not only buy your food and work, but buy all your consumables as well. And at $8 an hour if you're lucky, because that's all we're going to fight for. Maybe 10-10. Maybe. All I'm going to say is we have had a huge victory here tonight. We're looking right now at 12 to 16%. Who knows where that will go as the rest of the evening proceeds. That's a massive victory for independent politics and for the working class and for the Greens in New York State. Massive.
Yes.
And you have to understand that we can start off with where's the 2 or 3%, and that's a miserable failure. 12 to 16% is not a miserable failure for a campaign that spent $32,000, raised from small donations from people who live here and work here and were born here in many cases. You know, the reality is those people are spending millions of dollars of outside money, and they're not from the district to buy our seat. They won. Well, that depends on how we look at it. I look at it like the preordained conclusion that a Republican who was going to spend $3 million worth of Karl Rove PAC money and Paul Singer and Crossroads, it's kind of a foregone conclusion the machine would put her into office. It wasn't a foregone conclusion that the Democrats would give up on the race immediately and not donate any money from the National Party. It wasn't a foregone conclusion that we could build a network overnight of people all around the district who wanted to support an alternative working class voice in this race. We have succeeded in ways almost no third party race ever succeeds. And we can build on that. So all I would say is let's keep ourselves open for 2 years down the road. And as I said earlier, let's also make sure we all run. And it doesn't have to be for Congress. Hell, it could be for president again. Let's make sure we support Jill Stein, because she's going to run again. She's an amazing candidate. If we're going to use identity politics to elect the first woman president, let's make sure she's not a conservative Republican war hawk masquerading as a Democrat. Let's make sure it's Jill Stein, who's a single-payer advocate and a doctor and somebody who actually makes sense and works hard for a living instead. That's a woman I want to see in office. I'm not going to run for that seat, but I certainly will run again for Congress unless there's a really bold, strong female candidate who comes forward who's extremely articulate, and then I will take a step back and say, you take on Elise. I will just do some background work to fundraise for you and commit myself to support your race.